musicians getting heat, fuck out the kitchen.
Let him cook.
Let me cook.
Let him cook.
Let me cook.
Let him cook.
Let me cook. Let me cook.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's never gonna get
I
old.
love it, dog. I love it.
That is never gonna get old. But hey, you know what, bro? You know what it is? It's Monday nights, Pancakes, Powerbombs. It's
Yes,
draft week,
sir.
bro.
Another
It's
episode.
bro. Hey, it's draft week, bro. It's time to earn some money today. What are you excited about?
Honestly, you said it. It's draft week. To be dead serious, there's no other way to put it. Draft week for a football fan and here recently a WWE fan is a very pivotal time of the year where company changes or in retrospect of football, which is something we've all salivated on. We've been dead silent for about 6 to 8 weeks, and we need that pigskin back in our lives, and it's ramping back up this week. So I'm excited. It's draft week. Just that's enough to be excited about, and it's only going to get bigger as the days building into the draft. This is only Monday. This is where the good stuff starts to happen. I wouldn't be surprised to hear things like, a potential. These are the days where you're going to hear things like, okay, the so-and-so team has contacted the such-and-such player and guaranteed he's the first overall pick, and they've gotten it out of the way. And number 2 is actually on the clock before we even start the draft. So I'm really hyped for that, brother. And I don't know about you. And let's just push back a little bit and move to Friday and talk about the WWE draft with the big explosion of the new perspective of the way they're pushing the product out and what kind of product they're going to be pushing out moving into this huge deal next year when they move on to Netflix for Monday Night Raw. It's going to be insane. These decisions over the next few weeks for the NFL and the WWE are really going to be projecting what we're going to be seeing for the near future.
It is, and bro, there's no better time than to be a wrestling fan, really, than right now. We've been saying it for the last couple of weeks, bro, and it just seems like each week, bro, they keep finding new ways to just bring it up more. But you know what? We're gonna do something we ain't done in a couple of weeks, bro. We're gonna jump into the pancake segment, man, because for the first time in a long time, well, since what, February, March, we got football to we got football to talk about, man.
Absolutely.
Let's start off with the news of the day, man. Matt Ryan called it quits.
Yeah. Look, as an ACC fan, okay, as an ACC fan, I watched Matt Ryan his whole career, his whole college career, and being a Buccaneer fan, his whole professional career.
Yeah.
I have nothing but respect for Matt Ryan, the football player. He's one hell of a guy. It's a shame he ended up in a shithole like Atlanta and couldn't get the job done there. Obviously, which had a lot to do with the team around him, as well as some mistakes that he made in games, But at the same time, overall, Matt Ryan had a very damn good career and enjoyed a retirement, well deserved.
Yeah, and you know what, man? Like, Matt Ryan might go down since Dan Marino to be one of the best of the generation without winning a ring. Like, he's going to be one of those, like, that'll be one of the things that keep him from being talked about as one of the top quarterbacks of the era, is the fact of there was no ring, and the one opportunity he had for that ring, we all understand, we all know what it is, the 28-3 collapse, and then after all that few years, and well, let's talk about that year. I mean, bro, he had an MVP type fucking season.
Right.
And for it to go down the way it did, like, I don't know, man. His time in Atlanta, I think it will be synonymous with being that next chapter after the Michael Vick saga.
Yeah.
Not to say it's a like a black cloud or a black flag for it, but that does show a little bit of a difference for it. Now, when you bring it over to when he went to Indianapolis, that was just, I don't know. I almost feel like he should have called it a career before then. Nothing against Indy, but maybe that did mess up his, I don't know, career numbers in a way.
You
As
know,
much as it improved it, I think it may have hurt it as well.
you know, it just plain old didn't work out in Indianapolis. Frank Wright, wasn't he the coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guy's not a good head coach. He's a pretty good coordinator. He's a really good coordinator. But a head coach, no, I wouldn't. No. Some of these guys, they don't deserve that much responsibility just because they can call plays and put a scheme together. And that's what sometimes the way they lead men makes a bigger impact than what they can do on the chalkboard. Because let's be real, the guys are athletes. All 53 on the field are athletes. They do this.
Yeah.
This is what they've trained to do for years. And this is not taking away credit for what a coach can do, but that in itself. Look at Atlanta. Look at who they had around them. They had a freaking good football team in Atlanta for many, many, many years and couldn't get the job done. Was that all the players' fault? No. Can you tell me how many head coaches they had in Atlanta? A ton. You see where I'm going with this?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, to get back onto it, I guess it is a good timing for going out for Matt. I mean, because you kind of want to go out on top, but you don't want to go out when you completely are hurt or against your will type thing. So I guess it's a good thing. I mean, I don't know how I'd feel about signing that 1-day contract to retire, after watching, Kirk Cousins. Like that just, I don't know.
I can see it, brother. Like, that's Matt Ryan. That's who. Like, he loves Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, he's a loyal dude, and that's just his character. He gave it his all. Everything he gave to the NFL was in Atlanta. It sure wasn't in Indianapolis.
Oh, no. And we're agreeing on it. His time in Indy, bro, was just all right, fuck it moment. Well, jumping into other news, Denver Broncos unveil some new uniforms. I know you've seen it. We've talked about it a little bit. I'm just gonna say, my man, they look horrible. Absolutely horrendous. I mean, I tried to upload it for the show, and you even seen it, bro. It wasn't working. The computer, even the system said, nah. What are your thoughts for it, brother?
I liked what they had way better compared to what they got now. I don't like it. It's just like, for me, first off, if it's the right shade of orange, obviously it doesn't have to be creamsicle. But first off, I'm a Florida State fan, and I'm very sports oriented with my clothes. So with the right color orange, I could see it popping off. Like, I've seen a few versions of like when I'm playing Madden, I've seen a few versions of their uniforms. Like, okay, I can dig that. But those are just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know what, bro?
They look like the Auburn Tigers and the Detroit, the Denver Broncos had a baby, and that's what came out.
I seen somebody put this, and now I can't unsee it. It looks like they did a mock-up with the Miami Hurricanes uniform and said, how can I make this look Toledo? And that, I mean, it looks like they would belong on that Kentucky Bluegrass.
Right.
Now, to go with their new uniforms, the Broncos went ahead and traded for Zach Wilson. Does Denver still draft a quarterback, or did they get their guy?
Well, first off, you look at their head coach, and you don't take any credit away from Drew Brees, but you give credit to Sean Payton. Being a Buccaneer fan as you are and I am, we both know that is not an easy guy to go up against. I don't care who you've got. He's a very good head football coach. He's got an extreme, methodology. I don't necessarily blame him for the Russell Wilson debacle. I blame John Elway for the Russell Wilson debacle. I blame Denver Broncos, the city of Denver. That was just a whole bad situation all the way around. But me personally, I love the comment. If I could like that, let me, like that's beautiful. But like for real, I think, looking at their position in the draft this year, they have no more capital to move up. In my opinion, they've already gotten rid of a lot of their capital. So I can see them right now with what got this year with Zach Wilson and moving to next year. Because remember, John Payton got a huge contract.
Unfortunately.
Huge. So he's got, 10 years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it a 10-year contract?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, so they've got time to build something. So I think that could be the focus, is them potentially putting focus and having a competition with Zach Wilson and who is it? What's that cat's name?
That guy? You talking about Jared Stidham?
Yeah. Stidham, thank you.
Where you at? Come back to me. All right. Well, I'm assuming Derek is having some technical difficulties with his stuff right now. But after talking about that, I'm gonna have to go ahead and disagree with it, because I'm not seeing Jared Stidham being a the backup or even competing for it. Now that you're back, my man, I was just saying that I don't see Stidham being that backup, competing, anything like that. Do you think they draft a quarterback though?
I could see them drafting a quarterback in the second or third round. Look, Bo Nix. I could see Bo Nix, Denver picking up Bo Nix in the second or third round. I could definitely see Denver moving on Bo Nix in the second round if he's still there. They've got a what pick were they? Let me see. They were in the second round. They have pick. Where are they? Oh, dang. They don't have a second round pick.
And I mean, it could be possible, especially, still with the aftermath of the Russell Wilson trade from Seattle.
So they don't have a second round pick. They have a first and a third, and they're 12. But honestly, I mean, and I'll reveal here in a few minutes when we go over the mock draft, the final mock draft of the year, that you don't know what they're going to go with, but I think their best option is Bo Nix, but they got to move back up in the second round. They have no draft capital. They already moved a lot of that stuff right after the season and during the season. So there's not much to play with house money as far as that goes. So you really got to depend on the talent you're bringing in the building with these draft picks.
Yeah.
But that being said, do you move back? You hold on. Here's the other option. Here's how it works. I just thought of this. Here's the option. They move back and get Bo Nix late in the first round.
Who do they move back from with? Because personally, I don't think Bo Nix is worth a first round pick, whether it be middle or late.
I really don't either. But you would have to move them back to the second round, and back second round in the first few picks, you're looking at Carolina, New England, Baltimore, Washington, LA, and Tennessee is the first 6 picks. So
I mean, at that point, if you're thinking of trading back to the earlier part of the second round, I'd like to believe Carolina's going to go and Carolina got rid of their first round pick, so they're going to be looking to pick. The only one I could see maybe doing a swap would be Washington.
I could see that, honestly.
Because
to be fair, with what you're looking at, I don't think they make a move on a quarterback this year. I think the best way for them to build is in what they can put in the facility this year, make what they've got, in the building work, and then project to look for their starter next year, or you might even be able to talk a few veterans off the couch, to finish your season up. So there's other options. I just don't think they have it in them. But then again, if they're at 13 and the right QB doesn't, or not 13, what are they in the first round? 11. No, 12. 12. You never know. You could get Michael Penix. You could get Michael Penix potentially at that part. But do you go with Michael Penix? I mean, I heard today, look, about Michael Penix, he got a clean bill of health. After all those surgeries, all those injuries, he got a clean bill of health. So that's huge news. That's huge news. His arm strength is ridiculous. Look, if we didn't sign Baker Mayfield, I was all in on Michael Penix.
Well, even with the Baker signing, I'm not, as a Bucs fan, bro,
I don't want a quarterback in the first round. The hell with that.
No. I'm not saying go jump and get a quarterback first round. That is us bringing Baker back. That kind of guaranteed that at 26, bro, we know we ain't getting our future guy. And there's no way we were.
You know how many years Bo Nix played in college?
I mean, at this point, bro, isn't there a lot? Pretty sure there's a long snapper in like his 7th season in college.
Yeah.
So,
no, Bo Nix, 6 years in college, right?
Yeah. Well, I just want to know, 6 years in, did he graduate?
So check it out. Here's my thought.
I'm just
as a Bucs fan, second round, Bo Nix is sitting there. In the second round, when we pick, I swipe Bo Nix up. He's got 6 years of football experience. He sits behind vet for 2 years, and Baker dips in 2 years, or we let him go in 2 years, and we cut ties, and we've got him for 3 years.
I mean, not opposed to it. I'm not. I'm
I mean,
not
Pancakes
saying.
is not a horrible guy. He's just not first round talent.
Agreed. Speaking of, before we jump into the mock draft, well, the Maniac Buck mock draft. Some of the draft news going on today that I had caught up on. Mel Kiper's believing that LSU's Jaden Daniels is more day one ready than Drake May. What are your thoughts?
To be honest with you, I agree with a different analyst, Daniel Jeremiah.
Okay.
Just listing the top 5 quarterbacks. Right, he's got, and I agree. I personally agree with all of them. Caleb Williams being picked up by Chicago, Drake May being picked up by Washington, Jaden Daniels going to New England, and that's 1, 2, and 3. J.J. McCarthy holding down number 11 with the Minnesota Vikings, and at number 13, Michael Penix going to the Oakland Raiders. Now, I believe there's more upside and potential with Jaden Daniels' athleticism as opposed to Drake May. I will say I feel like Drake May is that 6'4", tall quarterback, leader of men kind of guy. He's ready for that kind of production. The offense that they ran in North Carolina was a professional pro style offense. A lot of ACC teams ran a pro style offense. So now Jaden Daniels, which Florida State faced him 2 years in a row in the opening game, and I got to see him. He was a fantastic guy. Watching him a few games against LSU. My wife's an LSU fan, so I actually got to watch him a few times. And the kid's lightning in a bottle. Absolutely. But I personally buy into the Drake May Kool-Aid. I think Drake May is ready to start day one. And I believe Washington, the new turnover, needs that kind of guy. And it's just they need a guy that can produce now.
Well, and I agree. And one I'm gonna kind of debunk is your Patriots pick and J.J. McCarthy holding down the 11, because I've seen a few experts also picking that New England could be going after their guy with J.J. McCarthy, and I'm saying it because I'm gonna look at one thing. Look at the last man that they drafted from Michigan as a quarterback. May not have
Look
won
at the head coach that coached the guy. I mean, let's add that too.
Yeah,
that guy's no slouch.
Yeah, and look who coached that man, and not really putting the cart before the horse, but I think they might be looking for a nostalgia piece, especially because of the simple fact that J.J. McCarthy kind of just came off a national title, and it's not like he's a unknown guy like Brady was.
Right. Absolutely.
He's been making noise the last couple of years, so that's going to be a fun one to see happen. Now, we've been talking about it. We've been advertising it, hyping it up. It's time, my man. It's the Maniac mock draft.
Yes, sir. I'm excited about it. I've done a few of them this year, and I've listened to a lot of stuff. I read a lot of stuff. I watched a lot of pro days. Look, NFL Network has lived on my data plan. My insides are churning football. But look, I have accumulated quite an array of different ways to look at this. I personally have the whole 7-round mock draft, but what we're going to go over is the first round. And I didn't involve any trades because those are so systematic and semantical. It's really going to change from situation to situation. And I haven't met a human being yet to get a mock draft right. I mean, it's easier getting a bracket for the Final Four to win from beginning to end than to get a mock draft right. It is so difficult to predict exactly how these are going to go down. And let me start off by saying that, but let me follow that by saying this. I think I'm doing pretty good. I've got a good track record, and I don't think I'm too far off. But now, this is the first of 32 picks. And as we all know, Caleb Williams is clearly the number one pick. All right. We've got Drake May at number 2 to Washington. We've got Jaden Daniels going to the New England Patriots. We've got number 4, Marvin Harrison Jr., a Hall of Fame son, going to the Arizona Cardinals. At number 5, the Chargers stay put as they lost both of their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers and replaced that with a stud in Rome Odunze. New York Giants really need some weapons to get Daniel Jones going because they've got him wrapped up in a long-term contract and a lot of money signed to him. So they're going to pick another stud at wide receiver, Malik Neighbors. I've got the first offensive tackle going to the Titans. I've got Brock Bowers landing in Chicago. And I've got Dallas Turner. Excuse me, I skipped Atlanta. That was intentional. I got Dallas Turner, edge rusher out of Alabama, being drafted by the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay, so real
Go
quick, let me jump back. That Giants pick, the only thing I have different about it is I got them taking Joe Alt out of Notre Dame just out of pure protection because you got to have your quarterback standing upright, and they kind of had a hard time doing that last year, as my boy Isaiah will say Daniel Jones was running for his life and was looking ridiculous. So that was one thing I got different. But go ahead and continue.
They need weapons bad. They need weapons very bad.
Oh, they need weapons bad, but I do believe that they need to protect that man before they even think about that man throwing the ball.
But see, for me, the as many mock drafts as I've done, what I've saw is outside offensive line protection is pretty deep in this draft. So you can get a second, third round stud that would be, predicating to being able to pull that pick off, which is why I did that. Now, speaking of Joe Alt, I have Joe Alt going to the New York Jets because you better believe that they will get a protection pick for Aaron Rodgers. You better believe it.
Shit, man, with the way Aaron Rodgers is going, they're going to need to get that man a whole bunch of mushrooms and a fucking protection plan. Need to get some All-State.
Well, if you think about this, look at this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. What he wasn't going to do, what he was going to do, and how he ended up in New York after bringing all that to light. And now he comes and he's got a reason to say something and say, hey, like he did in Green Bay. Hey, give me some weapons. Give me some weapons. Give me some weapons. And they never got him weapons, right? Well, he left. He told them he wasn't going to deal with that in New York. So I promise you they're going to go get him a tackle.
Hang on. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers talking about he never had weapons in Green Bay. But to explain to me why when he went to New York, those same weapons followed him.
Those were old weapons, though, bro. That wasn't Devontae Adams.
Yeah, because they done showed Devontae Adams the door when he went to Vegas.
Well, that's because he wanted more money.
Outside of that, why is it he was complaining about that even before the Devontae Adams? He was complaining about that years before. You're not wrong. Man, you could have got that. You could have got that full Randy Moss. You could have got that man Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson all in their prime, ready to go, and that man would have still fallen on his ass and then looked at you and said, "It's your fault that I suck."
I disagree. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest we've ever seen. I
I'm
think
not
he's top 3 greatest quarterback ever played.
gonna,
Outside of Brady.
no,
Well, hold on. We're going to take Brady and Patrick and put them to the side.
yeah, no. That you saying
He's
of
top
this
3.
of this generation?
Athletically gifted quarterbacks. He's the best quarterback, most athletic and skilled quarterback ever played the game. Not successful. He's the most skilled quarterback to play the game.
We'll have to do us a whole show on that one day because
that's
absolutely
I don't like his mentality. I think he's a jerk, but I think on that field he's an assassin, dude.
Yeah. All right. Now let's jump back into this mock draft.
Moving forward. Speaking of quarterbacks, at number 11, I've got J.J. McCarthy going to the Minnesota Vikings to replace Kurt "You Like That" Cousins. With the Denver Broncos picking at number 12, we were discussing Denver earlier. I got them picking up Jared Verse out of Florida State, which is a big pick.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've got Michael Penix being picked up by the Oakland Raiders. I've got the Saints picking up the offensive tackle Talasi Fuaga. I've got the Colts picking Quinyon Mitchell, as the first cornerback taken in the draft. I've got the Seattle Seahawks taking Chop Robinson at number 16. Nate Wiggins is going to end up in Jacksonville from Clemson as a cornerback. The Cincinnati Bengals are picking Troy Fatunua, offensive tackle out of Washington, a really solid offensive tackle. I think they need that edge protection to keep Joe healthy. If they can keep Joe healthy, Cincinnati's going to be a year in and out. LA's going to replace some edge rushing that they've lost with the exit of Aaron Donald with Latua. I'm horrible. I'm murdering these names. Please forgive me. He's an edge rusher out of UCLA.
I know who you're talking about, and
I watched a couple of games that played like late at night, those late games that come on, and I saw him. He showed up on film quite a bunch.
Yo, those UCA. Anybody that loves college football, outside of the SEC, bro, some of the best games are them Pac-10 and Pac-12 nighttime games, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've
got one of my favorite offensive linemen in the draft, Graham Barton, going at number 20 to the Pittsburgh Steelers out of Duke. Yes, sir. The Miami Dolphins get edge protection in offensive tackle out of Georgia, Amarius Mims, while the Philadelphia Eagles at number 22, Byron Murphy II, defensive tackle out of Texas. I've got, I've got the Minnesota Vikings coming back in at 23 to get J.J. McCarthy some let's grow together and bust some records apart in Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, wide receiver. I think that's going to be now think about that. Brian Thomas Jr. and Jay Jettis on the other side. Can you imagine how that works out? That's going to be nifty.
That'll be it. That'll be fun.
All right. So you've got Dallas picking at number 24. I've got them clearing up one of the first 3 named players of the draft, Jackson Powers Johnson, an offensive center out of Oregon. He's the top-rated center in the NFL draft this year. At number 25, I have the Green Bay Packers picking up Cooper DeJean, safety out of Iowa. Yes, that's going to step up that defense and give Savage some much-needed help in that secondary.
Oh, yeah.
Now, as the Buccaneer fans we are, this is going to be an interesting pick. But I have at number 26 Kool-Aid McKinstry being drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And see, we're I know in the beginning we were both on board with this Kool-Aid McKinstry pick. I agree with it because yes, I do think we need a lot of help when it comes to our secondary, and I do believe we're going to get that help overall. Because the one trade I will say that we will be dealt with in this draft is I do see Carlton Davis being one of those. Being one of those that maybe your favorite, your all your cornerback prospects that you needed are now taken up. You have this money set aside that, maybe Carlton fits into it, but I do see him being used. I don't know the team. I'm not really trying to project it in that way because I don't want it to be a Carlton bash.
Right.
But I personally had us picking Jackson Powers Johnson at 26.
Right. I think he's going to be gone by then.
And that was after Jensen had
Dallas is
announced
desperate
retirement.
for offensive linemen now. Dallas is desperate, and they're notorious for picking offensive linemen in the first round.
I was going to say, they're notorious for getting them good guys, too.
Yeah. Now, after number 26, you got pick number 27, the Arizona Cardinals, picking up Darius Robinson, edge rusher out of Missouri. I'm not a fan of his. I'm not a fan of his. You know what I mean? I didn't follow him a lot. I didn't see a ton of him. But I felt a lot of need and a lot of instant results coming from Kool-Aid McKinstry into the secondary. Now, at number 28, I have a much-needed help in the wide receiver room in Buffalo with Adanya Mitchell, one of the second fastest wide receiver 40 time at the combine.
Okay.
Now, the Detroit Lions at number 29 are selecting Terrion Arnold, cornerback, Alabama, to replace the recently booted Cortland Sutton. At number 30, I do too. I mean, that whole situation was stupid, but why? I honestly want to say there's more to it because, like, the way it went down, why didn't you just stay? Well, like, what the hell? He had to be drunk or have drugs on him. Now, that's just me, but I'm not saying nothing. It's speculation, y'all. Just throwing it out there. That's speculation.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. None of my business. At number 30, Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle being drafted by the Baltimore Ravens out of Oklahoma, where they breed them big boys out there because they love to run the ball out of Oklahoma. You know this. So that's going to be very suitable for the Baltimore offense.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have at number 31, another offensive tackle being taken by the San Francisco 49ers, J.C. Latham out of Alabama.
Oh.
And to fill the end of the first round, you have a trifecta of offensive tackles moving off the board. Now, can anybody tell me the need that Kansas City has the most outside of wide receiver? Tackle. Offensive tackle.
I was going to well, hold on for a second.
It's wide receiver and offensive tackles their biggest needs on offense. And in my opinion, I think you let those young guys grow another year and you get somebody to protect him because those two guys that they had protecting him are horrid.
Hey,
horrid.
Listen. I know I used to give Donovan Hold the Fuck Up Smith a lot of slack in recent years. But did this man not bet on himself?
I mean,
And did he not?
If a Billy Goat signs with the Kansas City Chiefs, he's damn near likely to win a ring.
But hear me out though. In that time, how many penalties did Donovan Smith have in the Super Bowl? How many penalties did Donovan Smith have in the playoffs? And how many penalties did Donovan Smith have all season? He was a lot better in Kansas City than he was with us.
We're not talking just about the penalties. We're talking about how many times you let your quarterback get pressured. How many times you let your quarterback get hit? How many times you let your quarterback get knocked down? Those numbers were not good. I'll give you that. He improved his technique, to be able to maintain that better technique to where he didn't foul all the time, because he was bad in Tampa. He was bad in Tampa.
His technique, that's why I'm saying, man, Donovan his numbers were better because his technique improved. He was shown a better technique. He also went back to protecting the quarterbacks that had a similar play style to Jameis. I mean,
well, again, you've got two. To me, they both suck. I believe Donovan's the better of the two. And who's the other one? Jawan Taylor, right?
Yeah.
Jawan Taylor. Jawan Taylor's trash.
I would say, to me, Jawan Taylor is completely overrated. He's the overrated aspect, because there was so much hype and so much positivity. Well, I don't even know any other word to describe it besides positivity. There was so much of it surrounding him, bro, when he got drafted. I remember, and I don't remember the name, but I remember hearing that name so prominent, bro. Like, they got the next in their eyes. They had the next Joe Thomas, bro, and he turned out to just be. Fuck, bro. I don't know.
I've got the Kansas City Chiefs ending the first round with an offensive tackle out of BYU.
I like that pick.
Kingsley Sauamatayahaya. I'm horrible. No,
I know. Yeah, I was gonna say I know who your pick was, and I definitely like that pick.
Now, let me real quick. Last week.
Well, I was gonna say, while you're getting all that caught up, let's talk about this draft real quick. Thursday night it will be round 1. I'm still unsure on how we're gonna do things. We may do a little impromptu show, but Friday night, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grade our mock compared to what really happened, and we'll compare it. And we'll see. We'll kind of see how everything fell, right? And then we'll preview, of course, rounds 2 and 3, which happened that night, along with our WWE draft. I'm gonna go ahead and on that night I am gonna throw out who I do think will be drafted, not only first to Raw and first to SmackDown, which that's probably gonna be a given, but I'm going to give you 2 picks that I believe are going to change the game. One of them will be a swap of champions, and another will be a non-champion moving to another brand and their career kind of taking the next level step. So stay tuned for that on Friday night.
Okay. I'm excited about that. Well, last week I did earlier I did a draft solely on the Buccaneers. And, there are different options. So I don't necessarily associate this with that mock draft. This is me as a fan. What I know my team needs, what I feel my team needs are, what I feel like the best position that would put us in to be successful. This is me playing GM. I got in the first round to pick 26. And
Yeah.
we did this with me and you back on backstage of the studio before the show. And I found it quite interesting because I had a few trade offers. There was a few players left open, but for what the Buccaneers really needed, they could have drafted the best player and would probably have walked away with a quarterback at that particular position, which is not something you wanted to do. There was no offensive. There was outside line help, but I'm really okay with our outside line right now.
I was gonna say, so just to go into more detail on this, as you were picking what you did as a fan, what you felt we needed at that moment, my option in that time was best player available.
Right. Now, what one of the trades caught my attention.
Okay.
After looking at the next 10 particular available players, I had an offer from the Tennessee Titans, which was specifically 10 steps down, right, in the draft, moving back to the second round to pick number 6.
Okay.
So I took that trade. I gave away 26,208. I got 38, 110, and next year's Tennessee's first.
Okay.
Now, that was a huge reason because of the potential players that were available. Who was available? The next 5 to 6 players, you know. So I looked 15 players to 16 players ahead. I'm moving back 10 spots, and I'm evaluating what I needed to do. But I'm also thinking about a potential quarterback need in 2 to 3 years, where we might not be drafting a quarterback next year. This gives us 2 first-round draft picks. We see somebody we like next year, guess what? We can pull the trigger on a trade. So as a fan, but thinking with logic, I jumped on that trade.
Okay.
I moved back to number 38, and for the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers picked Christian Haynes, offensive guard from UConn. Okay. So I got my guard. I got my interior lineman. He's a top 5 rated interior offensive lineman in the draft. He is also a big stud. UConn had a decent run game this year. He would fit in with our offense, I believe. All right. But we also got moved up from 220 to 110, right? So we moved back up into the beginning of the 4th round. And we still picked up a high value need, right? At 57, I have the Buccaneers selecting Xavier Leggett, wide receiver, South Carolina, who is a speedster. And that being said, if we're all thinking and we're all listening to a lot of the talk that I've had in the past, we both feel highly likely that this is potentially Chris Godwin's last year in a Buccaneer uniform.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. 92, I've got Austin Booker, 89, I've got Jatavian Sanders, a tight end from Texas. 92, I've got Austin Booker, edge rusher from Kansas. 120, I've got Jalen Hunt, an edge rusher from Houston Christian. At 125, I've got Brandon Coleman, an offensive guard from TCU. And rounding out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2024 draft, I've got Elijah Jones, a cornerback from Boston College. Plus, again, we also walked away with the 2025 first-round draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my mock draft for the year.
Well, as I stated, I had a little bit of a task to do, and mine was to pick the best available. And we started doing this dude, back in January, I think.
Right.
So at 26, I got Chop Robinson in my first one, edge rusher from Penn State. 57, I ended up with Michael Penix Jr. So there's our quarterback from Washington. At 89, got Dominic Puny, offensive guard from Kansas.
Nice.
And then at 92, I got Renardo Green, cornerback from Florida State. And that one now looking at it kind of assumes that we we get rid of Carlton Davis and via trade. And regardless of how that goes, don't know if we get a full-fledged cornerback in a swap. Now, after the whole Ryan Jensen retirement, I ran it back, and at 26 I got Johnson Powers Johnson, center out of Oregon. 57 I got Chris Braswell, edge rusher from Alabama, so I gave us an edge rusher one more time. And then at 89, Christian Mahogany, offensive guard out of Boston College, because again, I still think we need a lot of work with the guard position. Give us a little bit of depth. And then at 92, like you, Austin Booker, edge rusher out of Kansas. So that being said, that kind of kills off my Buccaneer fandom of a mock draft. So again, round one starts, I do believe it's 7:00 on Thursday. I do know Daniel's in here. I know he's going. So I'm gonna try to get with him on a few things and see what we can get for us. But
hey, maybe old Daniel could join live from the draft. That would be beautiful.
I'm going to be careful with that because I do believe he is inner circle, and I do not want to risk him losing.
Oh, he's inner circle.
Yeah, I don't want to risk.
Wow.
I don't want him risking losing his privilege on his.
Oh,
stuff,
no doubt. I wouldn't either.
Yeah, he's lucky enough to get to do that, bro. So
heck yeah, dude. I wouldn't. Wow, that's fantastic.
But now that we got a little bit of time, let's go on ahead and run it to what we've been running the last couple of weeks, my man. It's Monday Night Powerbombs.
Oh yes, I'm ready,
bro. Raw's gonna be interesting tonight. I don't know how much you've looked at it, but one thing we do need to talk about is we're gonna have a little bit of a Jey Uso Damian Priest intermingle because at this point they're gonna have to start promoing the shit. You're gonna have to start advertising, getting me ready for it. I already have a feeling I know how this is going, bro. Damian Priest ain't getting a quick run, so this is gonna be it's gonna be weird to see how this goes. Because I hate that they're going to be killing Jay's momentum with the loss. But
yeah, I can't see Damian losing that quick.
One thing that we get to see tonight is the Ring General coming back. Gunther makes his first appearance since WrestleMania after losing the Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn, ending his 666-day reign. You should be excited, man, because now we get to see Gunther move into a different limelight. Now we get to see him go into a different chapter, and it's going to be interesting, man, because he's going to be carrying Imperium with him. You'd like to believe, I don't see him shedding them off like that. It's going to be fun to see him and Damian soon. It's coming. And speaking of Sami Zayn, we watched Chad Gable, I'm assuming, turn heel. We're just going to call it that. Absolutely. And what I'm reading is he's being predicted to add the Creed brothers to kind of form a new faction similar to what we got with Team Angle, just bona fide pure wrestling. I have some questions on that, and I'm hoping we get some answers. What are you going to do with Ivy Nile? Are we getting a heel Ivy Nile? And if we do we get Maxine Dupree going with her? Because I feel you need that. I feel Maxine needs to stay with Ivy because she puts out her best work.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun, and on top of that, along with Ivy and Maxine, I can't wait for this one. The Women's Battle Royal for the Women's World Title. Just really quick, let me name off who's supposed to be in this. Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Maxine Dupree, Chelsea Green, Natalia, Katana Chance, Indy Hartwell, Zoe Stark, Caden Carter, Candice LeRae, Shayna Baszler, Tegan Knox, Piper Niven, Ivy Nile. Here's my thing, man. You got the draft coming up next week on Friday.
Did you say Liv Morgan?
Liv Morgan. Liv's my pick. But here's
I think
my thing.
I think that's the only one valuable enough to win it.
Becky, Nia.
I mean, I thought Becky was taking some time off.
No, and I don't know. But here's where I'm going at with it. You get Liv to win. You don't have no Jade Cargill, no Bianca, no Naomi, no Tiffy. You got the draft coming up, bro. You could have easily made this a 30-woman battle royal.
Hold on, you don't need Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton made her name on Friday night.
No, I'm saying though, you could have easily put. She don't have to win it, but you could have easily made it. You could have easily made this up for grabs for anybody.
I mean, I agree. I can't argue with that perspective.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting, but like I said, I do see Liv walking out. Now, one more that we get to look forward to. Our new World Tag Team Championships that were debuted last week. They're going to be on the line, bro, and Awesome Truth defends it against DIY.
I'm excited about that one.
You want to hear the spoiler?
Yeah.
I think DIY wins. Truth and Miz don't need that title reign.
Neither one of them.
Yeah, it was nostalgia.
No, what it was giving R-Truth his moment.
It's nostalgia. It gave them both their moment.
But at the same time, do you let them lose that quick?
Yeah, why not, bro?
Maybe you just build a feud and have them lose at Backlash.
What's it gonna hurt them? If they, I mean, yeah, you could do it at Backlash. Interference, something stupid, count out.
Right.
But yeah, you let them lose it that quick. Absolutely.
I mean, I can see them losing it at Backlash. I'm just saying, not tonight.
Hey, we've seen it happen a lot.
I've seen it happen. I mean, I think that would be shitty for R-Truth. You give him his moment. You got to let him have at least one defense.
Yeah, this is the defense, and then hey, man, you guys move to another. Maybe they move to another brand, bro. Maybe they go run it up on NXT. Hell, bro, maybe they keep it and they run around, and they're NXT and all that shit at one point. Before we go, bro, keep your eyes out. Jacob Fatu is gonna be debuting this week. I'm hearing it could be Raw tonight, but it's more likely gonna be SmackDown. Because from what I'm hearing, he's going to be part of that bloodline with Solo and Tama Tonga.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be a SmackDown brand.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. I would love to see them on Raw when they hit Netflix. But
oh, absolutely. That's where I think they should be.
But luckily, during that time frame, it'll be by WrestleMania. We can get us another draft. And when that Netflix thing kicks off, you really get new subscribers. You bring people over, and then at that point, you kick it off and then say, hey, fuck it, this is our thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Super dope show, brother. A lot of NFL information. We kind of a little bit over and took away from some talking time, but had a lot going on. I really appreciate your insight on your
absolutely. Oh, bro. Hey, you know what? Aside from everything, it was a packed show. It was good to get both of them back on the docket, man. So.
Oh man, it had chill bumps all over me going over that pigskin. As far as this goes, we'll see you guys Thursday night. Expect a podcast coming out real quick on Wednesday. I'll shoot it out on Pancakes and Powerbombs. But until then, we'll see you later. Derek Stevens, ManicBuc out.
Yes, sir.